There she is. On the birthday of her firstborn, our fearless leader, Elle Duncan, who started her very own program, popping up on camera and being like, damn, am I really this good looking? And the answer, Elle, is yes.
Oh my God. Just run the intro. Hey,
Happy birthday,
welcome
Eva.
to the whatever. Welcome to the Elle Duncan Show with Elle Duncan and Gary Streisky. What Gary is alluding to is that we are shooting this show from home today and not in studio because it is my daughter's birthday, her sixth birthday, and I have been traveling for the last 5 days. So I am going to spend the day with her, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do the show from
As
here.
you should.
However, when we tape remotely, just to give you a little BTS, we use a Zoom, some version of like Zoom. And sometimes when you're on Zoom and you're looking extra dusty and crusty, which happens all the time to me, there's this little thing you can do called fix my appearance. And it just slightly softens the lines and just makes you look less tired than you are. Now, I actually have a ton of makeup on right now. So I don't need that filter. So when I logged on, I looked like those ladies on Instagram where you're like, "Okay, you're a beautiful woman, but, like, why all the filters?" I mean, I looked fake. It looked like
Oh,
someone
the
had
aesthetic
literally
filter? Yeah.
airbrushed me, and I said, "No, no, 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 no. I look too perfect. We all know I have crow's feet and ginormous bags under my eyes. Give the people what they want, which is my raw face with a pound of makeup on it."
But those bags are designer, maybe French, maybe en
Right.
Parisien. That being the
Yeah.
theme, of course, over the next 3 weeks, as we are on the eve of the opening ceremonies from the 2024 Parisian Games. I
Yeah.
am excited because obviously, we being from this red, white, and blue understand that we are going in there and we are going to clean house. Listen, gaps in some particular sports certainly probably closed. Most prominently international basketball, but I am fully expecting our 600 athlete contingent to go up in France, storm every single one of those events, and bring home all of those damn golds.
That's right. It is the Olympics,
Eagle
the Olympic
screech.
time. Cue the bootleg version of the Olympic music because we do not have rights to any of that, nor do we have
That's
any rights
correct.
to any Olympic footage. So for the next few weeks,
Oof.
we're going to be leaning on a lot of TikToks, maybe some drawings, maybe some reenactments as we get you set for the Olympics in Pelly
Come on.
2024. And we've got Gary, we've compiled a list of the top
Okay.
10 things that we think that the people that are watching, listening, however you consume this great podcast slash
Yes.
show need to know about this year's Olympics. All right. And we start with who I personally think have the absolute best view at the Olympics, and that would
Mhm.
be volleyball. Take a look
Sure.
at what their setup is right in front of the Eiffel Tower. Look at that. Just stunning. Now, is that going to be a super obnoxious view when they light up the Eiffel Tower like a weird Christmas tree thing? I don't love that light show that they do. I think it looks a little bit tacky, but that is
Really?
quite a scene.
It's pretty sick, but then I'm putting myself in the shoes, although beach volleyball players don't wear shoes, which is actually kind of ironic, of the athletes playing in their little sand pit. And I'm like, they're not even gonna be able to enjoy the view. It's just gonna be us slobs at home watching the beach volleyball and being like, no, wait, cut to more scenics, cut to more aerials. And you have been a recent visitor to France. I was
Yeah.
in Paris last January, and I don't recall, as we were sort of logging our 20,000 steps a day in and around that great city of love, seeing big sand pits. L. So this must be a new addition, is just what I'm assuming. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they did a slight renovation really on the entire country of
Ah,
France
okay.
as the Olympics are spread out everywhere. One of the things that I'm excited about is, that there is nothing more American and French. There's nothing
Okay.
more symbolic of the immersion of the French and the Americans, lifelong allies, than Snoop
Yes.
Dogg carrying the
Of
torch,
course.
and I have been
Of
told
course.
that Snoop Dogg is not carrying the torch he's usually carrying, which is tiny and brown. He'll be
That's
actually
correct.
carrying the Olympic torch at some point, as it makes its way to the opening ceremonies, and I love it. I mean, look at Snoop Dogg in this picture wearing his custom polo fitted
Uh-huh.
USA suit. It just I'm getting honestly, I'm getting a little bit emotional. This is incredibly
I mean,
patriotic.
obviously, it's Calvin Brodus, which, by the way, L, he has been famous for going on 4 decades. His
Yeah,
debut album
4 years.
dropped in 1991, and he's only
Yeah,
52. I'm not gonna do the math this early in the morning, but Snoop Dogg has been around forever, but notice, okay, that Calvin Brodus, noted member of the Crips, okay, is predominantly blue here. Is he the
yeah.
only Crip that gets a pass for wearing red because, of course, red, white, and blue?
Well, no, that's the point is he had options. He was like, "I don't have to go with red because it's red, white, and blue." So he could have
Yeah,
gone
that's
white.
true, but
He chose to go blue, so he's protected there.
I mean, the
Here's the
US
thing,
of A, we are a gang 400 million strong.
it's 100%. It's the ultimate gang.
That's correct.
You gotta get jumped out to get out.
That's
Now,
you
here's
could
the thing that Snoop Dogg will not get. He will get to carry the
huh?
torch. He will get to do all that, and he'll probably get to participate in opening ceremonies. He will not get a gold medal, no matter how many blunts he can bench press.
Uh-huh. That's
However,
correct.
the good news is that the gold medals are not actually gold. In fact, they're mostly silver. But an addendum to these medals is that every
Uh-huh.
gold medal at this Olympic event will have a little piece of the Eiffel Tower in it. I thought that was actually kind of cool.
Which is actually super sweet, and, like, the origin story of the Eiffel Tower is incredible anyway. It was constructed solely for the purposes of the World's Fair in the late 1800s, and they were gonna freaking tear it down and scrap it, during wartime, but cooler heads did prevail. Not only do they have 18 grams of actual, iron from the original, Eiffel Tower, because they do renovations, like, frequently. Every time you go to Paris, they have like the scaffolding up at the base. I think it's like under a constant and perpetual state of renovation. But like these pieces of iron are like OG pieces. They're not like renovated pieces that they took off from the 70s. These are like 1880s little 18-gram morsels of the OG Eiffel Tower, which I think makes the metals, because they are predominantly silver alloy, worth a little bit more. It's a nice je ne sais quoi. Did I use that right? Did I use it
Yeah, you
correctly?
did
Or
really well.
probably
Look at
not. I
you.
did?
Yeah, you
Oh,
did. Yeah.
I'm a
It's
worldly man,
yeah.
as you knew, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't totally use it right, but it's as close as you're gonna get. So you didn't
Thank
Casey
you.
at the bat it,
Oui,
so
oui.
I'm gonna give you that win. You know what they absolutely Casey at the batted,
Merci.
what they totally whiffed on, and they tend to
Talk to
do
me.
this with Olympics. They get really cute with the mascots. Now, I remember because the worst mascot of all time was in 1996 when the Olympics were in my
Critic.
home
Oh,
state of Atlanta, and they came up with Izzy What Is It, which was the weirdest. It was like a mix between, it looked like a cyclone and a milkshake hooked up and had a baby, and this thing was bizarre and weird. And it is as if France went back in time and said, "I think we can top Izzy What Is It with the creepiest mascots." I don't know what this is. It's like a French version of an angry bird mixed with a little bit of a minion, a little bit of a blob.
I'm
Looks like
gonna
one of those squeeze toys when you get like stressed out, those stress balls that they sell at Sharper Image. I mean, it's giving a lot.
do we know what it is though? I
No, it's like a bird or something.
I've not done a
Look,
deep dive.
I think it has maybe one of it has now maybe that's an ode to the Paralympics, right? One of it has a blade on its leg. Is that am I is this correct?
Ah, there it is. Okay,
Have I
there it
nailed
is.
this, right?
I
So I
think you
think
nailed it.
so
Yep.
yeah, so we like that they have an inclusive mascot, but just could we just identify what species this is from?
Sure. I also Googled Izzy, what is it? It reminded me immediately of a Slurpee, okay?
Yeah.
But also kind of endearing. But Summer Olympics in Atlanta 1996, I would not want to be the poor sucker that has to put that thing on. It's like a
Yeah.
human booty hole, probably
It's
is what
it
it
yeah.
is, the climate inside of that contraption, if you
Pretty
will.
swampy, and for sure it stinks too, we already
A
know
touch
that.
swampy.
Um, hopefully, the mascots are taking showers before they get it on because there's an assumption that they will. Here's another thing that we think you need to know about the Olympics. The Paris Olympics Committee, or whoever they're called, have given out 300,000 condoms to the
Whoa.
athletes, because
Whoa.
they've
And
gotta protect Yeah,
If Tyreek Hill was competing in these Olympics, he'd be like, "Hmm, this is not enough."
yeah.
if Mr.
What? Do you know
Commodity
how
was
many kids? Do you know how many kids he has? He's not using condoms. What are you talking about, Gary?
he's like, these aren't gonna work. Sorry, not gonna work. L, okay, call me like call listen, the level of naivete that I carry through this life as an innocent 37-year-old, I understand is an outlier. It is much higher than peers, our colleagues, and probably other people my age. But I didn't know up until recently. Probably the Torino games, the winter games in Italy, was that like late teens? Was that like a late teens? That's when I was made privy to like how basically horny the Olympic Village is. I didn't know that
Yeah.
people were just getting it on. I just thought they were there like hunkering down, locking in, trying to get glory for country. Instead, they're trying to get a different kind of glory. You know what I'm saying? And it blew my mind, L. But then it made total sense. Here we are, a bunch of alphas who are the best at doing what they do, and they're all collectively in this village, literally Olympic village together for 3 weeks. Testosterone is running, estrogen is flowing, and it's just like a mismatch. All right. It's like the literal Olympic logo embodiment, just overlapping. I'm describing health ed class right now to our viewers and
Yeah, I mean,
listeners. So
honestly,
you're
it's
welcome.
like the description that you're painting is weirding me out. Testosterone's flowing, estrogen is flowing. Like listen, it's nothing more than these are young people. We have to remember that like Olympic athletes for the most part are pretty young. And
I
yes, they're
know.
athletic, they're hot, like they're bored, they
Yeah.
train all
Yeah.
day, they need to have some kind
Yeah.
of outlet. Olympic Village has banned alcohol, so it's not exactly they can drink. And honestly, most of them are training, so they wouldn't anyway. So it's like, what's
Correct.
another release? What's another way to get my mind off of these things? Release some endorphins,
Like we'll
get the
release some
juices
things.
flowing,
Hey,
get a little exercise in. There's also some, aerobic
hey, there you
exercise
go.
involved. And they're getting after it. And I love it. I love you got to protect
Uh-huh.
yourself. You got to protect your
Basically,
assets. Pass them
just
out.
little extra cardio, if you a little bonus cardio sesh,
That's what I'm saying. It's
like hit
great.
training, high intensity intervals.
Exactly. We've already
Oh
said though
my
that they're gonna have
gosh.
to do this
So
HIIT training
yes,
on the floor because they've got cardboard beds, so that can't work. And a couple of other things that we think that you should know, is that the
can we
surfing is actually not going to take place in France. It's gonna be in Tahiti, and also the river. The Seine, we've already talked about this, is actually
oh,
still full
yes,
of despite the fact that their mayor jumped into the water,
literally.
which is very
Mhm.
different than spending 2 hours in the water, by the way.
That's
And
correct.
so that didn't get cleared up besides the billion that they spent to clean up the river. So they're literally going to be swimming in you know what.
Yeah, no, just real quickly too, just over the condom story, 300,000, and there are reported, I think 10,500 athletes who will be here, um, will be there for the Olympics over the course of the next 3 weeks. 300,000 divided by 10,000 athletes, but you cut that in half because of course these are for men. That's a lot. Oh, that's a lot of extra cardio.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, do you think that they have time to do all like, are they gonna compete or they're just gonna just and maybe there's an Olympic event? There's some new events. Did we not know that along with break dancing and sport
Oh
climbing and
no.
kayak crossing, there's also gonna
Uh-huh.
be tantric sex?
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, that's Olympics after dark. Okay, that's on NBC past 11 p when the kiddos are asleep,
Yeah.
and we'll hear about it the next morning by Scott Hansen, who's basically doing the Olympics
Play by
version
play?
of NFL Red Zone. Yeah, they're in
Yeah. He's been
Stanford.
doing the play by play.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing the highlights, I guess.
All right, so here's some must knows because we kind of gave you the things that we think are interesting, but a few like housekeeping notes for the
Sure.
Olympics. The opening ceremony is on Friday. We've already established that LeBron will be our flag bearer. Last time we recorded, we didn't know who the woman would be. It turns out it's Coco Gauff. We didn't even throw out Coco Gauff's name. We were
We
going
didn't.
Simone Biles and Diana Taurasi, and it's Coco Gauff. What I think is amazing. She's so excited. She said she never thought she'd have an opportunity to represent her country in this way. So I love that. Look at her face when she found out she was going to be the flag bearer. there. Gymnastics starts this weekend, which we're excited about, especially because, of course,
Correct.
we love Simone Biles. The men's basketball plays Serbia on Sunday. And after almost getting beat by South Sudan in a dispirited effort against Germany, Steve Kerr finally speaking out when they landed on French soil. And he was like, all right, enough is enough. Gonna need you guys to bring up the energy a little bit because this is insane. Like they watched film, they looked lazy, and he's like, I need intensity. So they're having the toughest practice they've had yet in anticipation of starting their group play. And I think they're gonna be fine. I said that before. Like, I think these dudes like to play with their food. It's an exhibition game. When they need to turn it on and have to turn it on, I have full confidence that they.
Yeah, they're locked in. Again, I think the true litmus test is going to be in 6 days when they have a rematch with South Sudan. I understand, obviously, getting out of the group stage. I mean, I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion, but I really want to see how much they beat South Sudan by when the stakes actually, it's not an exhibition.
Exactly. All right. So that's what we think you need to know. Okay. But coming up, we're going to give you a look at the Olympics through the eyes of the athletes themselves, at least the ones that
Come
are
on.
on the internet. Stick around. The Elle Duncan Show returns after this. Week Mondays and Thursdays, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure that you rate, review, subscribe, tell somebody about it, listen on Spotify, watch it on YouTube. Just, consume it. Especially because you have to understand this about Gary, for those of you that are new to the program. If there was an Olympic sport and throwing a monkey wrench in the plans, he'd be a gold medalist. We now had to switch to FaceTime because Gary's raggedy internet was causing a
Hell,
huge
listen,
issue for the show.
we're neighbors. Okay. So if my internet is raggedy, as too is yours, that's the bad news. Here's the good news. It took me so long to set up my FaceTime situation here that now we are celebrating Eva's seventh birthday.
We
So
are.
it's cool. We're not going to,
Yep.
hey, two birds, one stone, and you only have to buy one set of presents. So you're welcome for looking out for your economic and financial well being.
Honestly,
You're an
she's a
ungrateful
teenager
friend.
now. How
She is.
long
She
it
has a
took. Oh
driver's
my
license.
goodness.
That's
We're trying
good.
to table set what should be, we're hoping, a fantastic Olympics. You know, the thing about the Olympics is because they only happen every 4 years, by the time you get
Hmm.
to the next one, you don't actually remember if the last one was any good. So every single Olympics is like the greatest Olympics because the memory is just not there of the last one. It's like, what happened in Japan? Besides the fact that basically everyone was quarantined and miserable. So it's great. It's
Oof.
like they get to start over. It's like amnesia. It's like 51st dates with the Olympics. You're like, this is going to be the biggest one yet.
Do you have an Olympics core memory? Because while everything you just said is like spot on, I distinctly remember how awesome the 2008 Beijing Olympics were. You know, the bird's nest stadium that they had. 2008 was the year that Michael Phelps absolutely dominated. Literally every single race he was in, it was gold, 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 gold. Maybe because I was a 21-year-old college kid at the time and I was like still bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. But I distinctly remember how awesome the 2008 Beijing games were. And then all of like those Facebook and Twitter videos came out like in 2009 and it was like, look at this decrepit Olympic village that has never been used since they left the '08 games. And I was like, damn,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of sad.
A lot of people don't repurpose all of the mass construction that happens. Like for Atlanta, they
Yeah.
repurposed the Olympic Village as housing for Georgia State. So, it made a lot of sense in terms of being able to repurpose it and use it as apartments. I actually do remember
Yeah.
the 2012 Olympics. And it's interesting because the person that made me remember that is someone that I actually had a chance to interview in Atlanta just yesterday, Missy Franklin. Remember the swimmer?
Oh,
She was
wow.
17, right? And I remember it so well because I just remember like this indelible image of just her super cheesing and her big pie in the sky smile because she was this 17-year-old who was setting records and winning gold
Hmm.
medals, and she was so excited about it. So I remember like more images than I remember storylines more than I remember specific things. But I think that this new age of social media will help us remember some of the things that happen outside of the sports themselves. For instance, TikTok, because again, we've got no rights
Come
to any
on.
of this stuff. So on this show, we will not be showing you any results. But I do have to say that, like, the idea that we can use TikTok to sort of have that lived experience, and there's nothing that is more, I would say, um, Olympic Village ready than some Americans showing on TikTok that they are staying underneath on what looks like a barge in the water underneath the
Hmm.
German team. And as you can admit, or as you can probably assume, the Germans are getting after it. Take a look at this video. It's fantastic. And the best part is that they're passing speakers down so that they can force their, you hear it, their trashy Euro music on you.
I think that's Tiesto, who's the grandfather of EDM. Everybody knows that. This doesn't bode well for the Americans. Because we're never supposed to give up the high ground, especially to the Germans. Okay,
Yeah, there you go.
this is distinctly how we won World War II. Okay, was never surrender the high ground. So we are already in a literal deficit to our Deutschland friends now.
Do we
Also,
think that the
I want to
Germans do
say.
we yeah, what were we gonna say?
I want to stay on a barge. Like, do you remember when the Real World Road Rules Challenge were lost at sea or went to sea? I was like, that'd be fun. But also, like, I'm a cruise guy. This looks like a good time.
Yeah, it's just a cruise. Do we think that the Germans are the best partiers of all the countries? Because I gotta be honest, I'm
Yes.
gonna go with, see, okay, I'm gonna go with the English because they're wild, and maybe even
Mm,
throw in our Emerald Isle friends. I think maybe the Irish people were probably
yes.
getting after it. Maybe I throw the Scots in there. I'm gonna go with
Okay.
the our UK brethren for sure, and I'm gonna say that the Germans will have great beer, and they'll definitely bring the pretzels and the schnitzel and all of that. But
That's
I think the
correct.
English are getting sloppy. I think the English are getting
El,
sloppy.
here's the thing, and you are a wise sage one, and I always defer to you because you always have just depths of wisdom. However, I think what you might be getting confused on are those countries that you listed are the best drinking nations, and a lot of people correlate drinking to a good time. If we're talking like party, rave, stay up 24 hours, it's everybody in Eastern Europe. Like rave culture, they get down, is all I'm saying. It's all the flashing lights, it's all the illicit activities. It's the
Yeah, I was gonna
Eastern
say
Europeans for
it's all the
sure. That's what I was gonna. Okay, so here's the thing that people need to realize about the program. Okay, we are multi-platform, which means we cater to a podcast audience. We cater to a YouTube internet audience, which generally you can hang sort of fast and loose with those people digesting the content. But we also cater to a on television audience, which oftentimes is a little bit more buttoned up. So, I come into these crossroads 87,000 times on our show every single day where I'm like, I can take a left and cater to the people who we should be catering to on the internet side. But then I remember walking through the halls when I'm on campus, and the elder statesman of the campus contingent is always like, "Hey, so that was a pretty interesting topic you and Elle were talking about. Couple nice four-letter words sprinkled in there." So I'm always lost, Elle. I'm always in a conundrum.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm just gonna say the things that everyone's thinking. You're like, "Oh, there's so much that goes into rave culture." I'm like, "Yeah, and it all begins and ends with." Lastly, as we are learning about the
Uh huh.
Olympics through TikTok, I am learning that there is such a thing as ambassadors for each respective sport, which is interesting to me,
Okay.
because I found out that Flavor Flav is one. Listen up.
I'm at the USA Women's Water Polo game, and Flava Flav is here. First off, how do these kids even know who that is? How do we know? And my second thing is, who can we get to sponsor USA Women's Rugby? We'll take pretty much anyone. Most of we would like Chaperone. We've decided on that. Maybe Waka Flocka. Who's the guy who plays Thor? We'll take him. And any other cool girl dads you know.
First of all, he is notably not American. Okay. Chris Hemsworth, not
This is true.
American. Probably not going to be a great ambassador for America. The part that you missed, because apparently our program has all kinds of Gary Gremlins, is that that is a rugby player saying that they are at Where are they at? They were at a water polo match or something, and that Flavor Flav
Okay.
is the ambassador for US water polo. So she was throwing out some ideas of who could be the ambassador for the rugby team. And I
Okay.
mean, if we're going in the Flavor Flav lane, like, I don't know, just insert anyone from the surreal life and like let's throw
Okay.
them up there.
If we're talking Flavor Flav as sort of like a category in and of itself, we're talking C-list, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's got to be like
C-list. What's
a,
C-list celebrity? Yeah.
but like a Terry Tate office linebacker because it's rugby, it's Terry Tate, it's the office linebacker. It's like a Terry Crews, for example. He's probably elevated more than a C-list, but I'm thinking
He's a
somewhere in
B.
that genre. I'm sort of thinking in that genre where there's the muscles can be on display and of usage. That's just the
What
first thing
about
that
one of
comes
the
to mind for
Pauls?
me.
I mean, they're considered A-list on the internet, but I would say in terms of like celebrities, they're probably C-list. Like what one of the Pauls,
Ooh.
you could make it either Jake or Logan. I don't know that most people would know the difference anyway.
Oh, CL, that's where I would
Right?
have to differ. They are like A-list of A-list.
No, 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 no,
100%.
no. They're
No,
they're a no,
L.
they are A-list social media stars in terms of when you talk about A-list, you're talking about like the cream of the crop. You're talking about the top of the top A-list. So you're putting the Pauls in the same category as Oprah. You're putting the
Yes.
Pauls in the same. What? Okay. So what?
100%.
Bruh, you're just a
L.
person of the internet. No, you are a person
No.
of the internet. And I think that your view is skewed. I do not think that if
L,
you're
no.
listing off A-list celebrities, you are putting the Pauls.
Okay, they are in that clump, and they are in that clump based off of every measurable statistic: viewership, revenue,
Social
merchandise,
media.
views, followers,
Yes, and
every
I'm with
metric.
you. I'm on social you're, like, literally making my point. They are A-list social media stars. They
No,
are not
and
A-listers.
L in every measurable
No,
category, they are A-listers,
no.
100%.
They're social media stars. They are superstars, yes, but I'm talking about A so you're literally putting the Pauls in the same sort of name recognition category as Oprah. Really? As
Yes,
Denzel
100.
who's an A-lister to you? As Denzel Washington.
Uh,
Really?
unequivocally, L unequivocally. I would venture to say even too that Gen Z would know who the Paul brothers are before who Denzel Washington is. It's just a generational
'Cause
thing.
they're yes, because they're social media people. Yes,
Because
yes.
they're A-list, but they're A-list. They're
Okay.
unequivocally A-list.
Take
They are
take
some
it to
of
the
the most
internet.
famous people on the planet. 1,000,000%. I would say that the Pauls brothers are more famous than Denzel. And I'm not even a
Okay.
big fan of the Paul brothers. I'm
Okay.
just saying. L,
Okay.
I'm just,
I
I'm
listen,
just saying.
this is probably generational. This is clearly generational because I think that's absurd. I think the idea that you would put the Paul brothers as A-listers, like you would put them in the same name recognition category with Oprah is crazy to me. That's nuts.
We
That's
live in a crazy
nuts.
world, L. Let's go to
Wow.
break because
Okay.
this angle is terrible on my face, by the way. It's just like up my chin. It's just disgusting. Go to break.
Coming up, we're going to test our Olympic knowledge.
Okay.
The Elle Duncan Show is back with some Olympic trivia. They want to test our knowledge. I'm going to fail. I
Lack
literally
of knowledge.
just on this very same show said I don't remember anything from any Olympics because there's too much time in between. And now they want to test my knowledge. That's cool. Here's the first question, Gary. You ready?
All right. Yep.
How much money did Paul McCartney make for his
Oh, God.
performance at the London Olympics in 2012?
All right, listen, I'm going to just use my context clues here. Paul McCartney, this should have been a hometown discount in that it's like a Super Bowl halftime performance, in that you don't get paid by the NFL or by Pepsi or Apple Music. It's more like you get to amplify all of your music in front of 300 million people. I'm going to guess nothing. I'm going to say Paul McCartney's not asking for money. He doesn't need money. And this is sort of like a, hey, this is going to help my downloads, just like it did with Usher this last halftime. So give me zero, because it was in London, £0.
Give me 500 racks. $500,000. I think.
Damn.
What's the answer? They're gonna just pop it up on the screen. $1.57.
1.57 million? Oh,
No, that's
$1.57.
$1.57. It's
Okay,
more of a
it's more.
donation of time. What is the significance of giving
See?
them $1.57 though? That's
Yeah,
weird.
that's kind of offensive to people who would be like, I actually need $1.57, so it's kind of a spit in the face for you to pretend like this isn't a substantial amount of money. See, okay, so if we're playing Price of Right rules, your boy
Yeah, you were the
point
closest.
uno.
You were the closest.
Sweet.
All right, so
Okay.
1 point for Gary. Now, we already established in this show that at this Olympics, they've given out 300,000 condoms. But apparently, since condom is the topic du jour on this show today, the trivia
Oh,
question is how many condoms were purchased for the 2000 Olympic Games held in Sydney? Before you take a guess, again, I have been to Sydney, Australia. I can tell you some of the most beautiful people that you've ever seen in your life. So, whatever that number is
for
for this
real?
one, double it.
For real?
No, you know what?
Okay.
They made an informed decision this year based on data probably over the last 24 years. I'm going to say back then they purchased 100,000 condoms, just not knowing how freaky this next generation of kids would get.
That's insane. But I think what we do have working against us is 2000 was pre-internet, pre-TikTok, pre-swiping, oh my gosh, you can fall in love with some person who is 18 time zones away from you. So I'm going to take the under on that as well, Elle. I'll go 75,000.
All right. What is the answer? How many?
Oh,
70,000. You're right.
that's
Well
amazing.
done. But
And
then
they
they
just
had to
blew
buy
through it during
20,000
opening
more,
ceremonies.
which would make me right. They had to buy 20,000 more. So they got to 90. I said 100. F it, I win. All
Oh,
right, 1 point
that's
each.
insane. Okay, keep going. That's insane.
1
When
point
you
each.
extrapolate the numbers,
It's crazy. Where do you buy them on Amazon? Like, what do you just put
you
70,000 condoms in your cart?
like I got a
Are there
Trojan guy.
various Yeah, are there various colors or options or, inevitably that guy that's like, "Oh, I need a Magnum," and you give him the side eye. You're like, "You don't. You don't need a Magnum." All right, next question.
Oh my
Which
god.
fast Which fast food
Okay,
chain in the Olympic Village offers free food to Olympic athletes and coaches, but had to put a 20 item per person limit? Ooh, okay. So I want to say originally, because of all of the items, I was like, well, what's a place where you can go and you get a lot of items? So I wanted to go with like
thank
a
you.
Taco Bell, right? Like someplace like
Oof.
tacos where you order but I actually don't think that Olympic athletes are eating Taco Bell. So I'm going to say Chipotle.
Damn. That's a lot of carnitas. I'm going same thought train as you. 20 item cap per athlete. It's a place that obviously has good logistics enough to be able to churn out that amount of food, that voluminous amount of food, and that many different selections. I'm going with the arches. I don't want to overthink this one. I'm going with the double arches. McDonald's. Ba da ba ba ba.
There it is.
Oh, because yes, they're like world class athletes, but becoming world class athletes, you walk around with this aura and this bravado and this confidence that I can eat whatever I want and still go out there and perform. So,
Yeah,
McDonald's,
okay.
hell yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see
I mean,
I'd love to
I
see
wouldn't know.
I'd love to see that courageous athlete that takes down a Big Mac and then decides they're gonna go pole vault. Should be interesting.
Hell,
Enjoy that.
Chad Ochocinco said he before every single game, it was a number one Big Mac with an extra large Sprite from McDonald's on game day. Like these
Wow.
jokers are built
Didn't his
different.
career end earlier than it should have too? I
No, you
wonder
ain't gotta
why.
go. You ain't gotta go all that far, L. Damn.
Next
You're
trivia
a bully.
question.
All
Which
right.
of the following was an Olympic sport in the early 1900s? A, egg toss, B, tug of war, or C, potato sack race? You know what? Early 1900s, I think of like famine.
Yes.
I think of like burlap, and so I'm going potato sack race.
Okay, I'm right there with you because early 1900s eggs was a premium food. That was a
Premium.
premier delicacy. And then tug
Mhm.
of war, we were mixed up in actual war. So give me potato sack race.
What's the answer? Tug of war?
Oh wait, no, we were wrong. Dang it.
Yeah, look at you celebrating, being wrong as
We
hell.
were Listen, we were throwing around war in the early 1900s. Listen, you couldn't walk anywhere without getting into war. So that checks. That was going to be my second guess, L.
Celebrating being incredibly wrong is exactly what you were just doing by saying that the Paul brothers are akin to Oprah. So I'm gonna let you sit on that one for a minute. Another trivia question: what are the 6 Olympic
Well,
colors and what is their significance? I think I can guess the colors, right? It's like green, blue, yellow, red. It's like all the primary
black,
colors. Black.
black, green.
I don't know what any of them mean. I just assumed they were like, hey, pretty much everybody uses these colors in their flags all across the world. So let's just smash them together.
I'm going Roy G. Biv. I'm going primary colors, red. We don't have orange. We do have yellow. We got a blue. Roy G. Biv. Blue,
Green,
indigo,
violet. There's no
blue,
violet.
indigo,
There's no
violet. Yeah,
violet.
you're right. You know what? I don't know.
That's also not a primary color. Blue, yellow, black, green, red, and white. All flags. Okay, so I nailed why they have that. Just maybe not all the colors. I think I threw orange in there, and that's not one at all. And then I've got one for
Collectively,
you.
we got there.
Yeah, we got there eventually. And I've got one for you that there will not be a full screen for
Okay.
this because I just saw this and decided I was going to spring it on you as a trivia question. Can
Yeah.
you name the youngest Olympian and the oldest Olympian, just their ages, and then the respective sport that they are in?
Of all time or like in this Paris Games?
In this particular Olympics, how old is the youngest Olympian? How old is the oldest Olympian? And what are their respective sports?
Again, some deductive reasoning. The Chinese are always up to some stuff. So give me a 12-year-old gymnast. I'm going 12-year-old gymnast out of China. And then there's skeet shooting and there's target shooting in the Olympics. And that's like an old rich person sport. You know what I'm saying? That's like you have to be a member of a gun club or a country club to go skeet shooting with all your free time. So I'm going with give me oldest. Give me a 67-year-old skeet shooter or 67-year-old, whatever the shooting sport is.
Okay.
Give me a
You were
12-year-old
right.
12-year-old Chinese gymnast,
Okay.
67-year-old skeet shooter from
You're
Britain,
not
from London.
you're not super off, but you're super off on the sports. The youngest Olympian is an 11-year-old Chinese skateboarder. I
Oh,
think his
skateboarder.
name is Zhang Hao. He's a skateboarder. The oldest is 65. His name is Juan Antonio Jimenez Cobo. So apparently he's lived so long he's collected numerous names. And
Correct.
he is an equestrian. In fact, the 3 youngest Olympians at the Olympics are all skateboarders, and the 3 oldest Olympians are all equestrians.
For real?
Yeah, so there
Okay,
you
but
go.
think about it. Equestrians, that is a sport where you got to have money.
Yeah,
Because
bank.
having a horse is like having a house, and then you have to park your horse at a horse house. Like you got to
Yeah.
have bread. So, okay, that
Oh,
checks out. That checks out.
did you did you say horse house instead of stable? They're called stables. Did you say a
Yeah,
horse house? You think they live in
it's a
a like a little house with a kitchen, and a
it's a
driveway,
house
and
for
like a
horse.
it's a
It's a house for
stable.
horses. It's a house for horses. Elle. Okay, you call it a stable. I call it a house for horses.
You said
Either
a
way, we
horse
get there.
house.
Okay, Elle. You know what? I'm sick of your judgment. You're acting real condescending. I wouldn't be surprised if you had a horse that lived in a horse house. Okay,
Like, you
you and
know what
your
you can do,
privilege.
Elle? You can take your horse and you can put a chair on his back, also known as a saddle.
Oh,
Tell me
real
you've never
cowboys
been
don't need
around
it.
horses. Oh my God. Oh, Gary. You know what? I give credit to the 65-year-old because I feel like I say all the time, I'm too old for this. And to have to be an Olympic athlete, a rich Olympic athlete, to your point, because they're in the equestrian
Yes.
space, to have to sleep in cardboard boxes in the Olympic Village with a bunch of horny teenagers. No, thank you. So when we come back on the Elle Duncan Show after this break, we will tell you some of the athletes that just feel and look a little long in the tooth. Stick around. Better tell somebody that the Elle Duncan Show has new episodes on Mondays and Thursdays. Wherever you get your podcasts, we are mighty, but we are strong and moving and growing every day. And we appreciate you telling somebody about our show so that we
That's
don't
right.
continue to talk to each other. We don't like talking in a vacuum. I'm too old for that. I'm too old for that. Olympic edition. I feel like we're about to do these dudes super dirty, okay?
Yeah,
Because we're gonna pop up a picture that makes every one of them look like that creeper that like hits on you on social, and you're like, ew.
for
Why on
sure.
earth would you think that you could have a chance with me, sir? That's kind of what we're doing. Like
I know what you're
these
talking about.
pictures
I get it
make
all the
these
time, Elle.
sure. And the feet
Hmm.
request too, because that's what they're giving. These pictures of these athletes are making them believe that they would ask you for pictures of your feet. But alas, I can identify at least 3 of them. So let's pop the picture up. Um, yeah, Rafa Nadal. Okay.
That's crazy.
Ooh, it's not
Y'all,
great.
listen. If you guys think I'm going to talk any sort of spice about the clay god, okay, Rafa, 20 something time Grand Slam champion, you better think again, because you know why? Because that man is 38 years young, and I am nipping at his heels. L, I am 37. All right, and I understand that a lot of it is angle and lighting, and the camera is above him, and he's not getting that underglow lighting. So all I'm saying is this: the photographer is winning no Olympic gold medals with this picture. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
The lighting and photography department, whatever the opposite of a gold, silver, bronze would be, that's what they get for doing our boy Rafa dirty like this.
super dirty. It's not great. It's giving like Cristiano Ronaldo's bronze bust, only a real life version
Oh,
because he looks wild. He
correct.
looks wild in this. In fact, the
Uh-huh.
pictures are so bad that our producers were like, bail on the pictures. We're not going to show any more pictures, despite what you just promised, because we don't want to embarrass the great Novak Djokovic or Dino Medvedev. Because they just don't deserve it. We're not here to pick or bully. That's not what we do on this show. But
Yeah,
what we
that's
will do
right.
is pose this question in the vein of, I'm too old for this. The
Uh-huh.
question is 32 too old for a themed birthday party? Should you not be
No.
having a themed birthday party anymore at 32? And we asked this because there was a picture that went around on the socials of a 32-year-old man outfitted with Spider-Man balloons, Spider-Man cake, just in general, a lot of Spider-Man stuff. You would think that you could take the 3 away from the balloon and that it would be for a 2-year-old, but it is in fact for a
Hmm.
32-year-old. And is this too
Great.
much?
I love it. I don't think it's enough, L. The whole concept of having a party for the day you were born is in itself a theme. It's like, yo, everybody has a birthday every year. Okay, if we're going to celebrate it, that that in and of itself is a themed party. I think that people our age should have more of these because it's the one time of the year, Christmas and maybe other holidays excluded, where you can feel like a kid again, L.
I love themed parties personally. I actually think that when you hit a certain age, you've had so much space between when you were allowed to have fun parties. Like when you're in your teens and
Yes.
20s, like that's embarrassing. You don't do it. I actually think you get to restart over in your 30s and do it. However, I only take issue
Yes.
with this because this is not a theme anybody else can participate in. Like, this is just you showing that you like Spider-Man. If you're gonna have a birthday party that's themed in your 30s, make it
Oh.
something that other people can participate in. I have a Halloween party every year. It's themed, icons or villains or whatever. Give somebody some way that they can participate and enjoy as well, because other than that, you're just literally watching a 32-year-old man, by the way, sitting in a chair that is way too low for him, just adorned with helium Spider-Man balloons. Like that looks sad and pathetic. But if you had done
Oh.
a
Whoa.
favorite, well, I'm saying if you had done a favorite heroes themed party,
Okay.
he could have had his Spider-Man. Someone could have come as something else. You've got to be participatory when you're going to do a themed party as a
Sure.
grown up and make sure that you're casting a wide net. So that's my only gripe with this. But other than that, get in where you fit in, get your weird on. It's your birthday.
Boom. And I can't wait for the Elle Duncan Halloween party because unfortunately I missed it last year.
You sure did. It's going to be lit this year. Speaking of birthdays, on the back end, I am so excited to have been threatened by my daughter for her to come on and say hello as it is her 6th birthday. We will do that for national TV introduction, except not really
Yes.
on the other side of
Oh.
this. All right, we're back on the Elle Duncan Show with the birthday girl. My daughter Eva is 6 years old today.
Eva, happy birthday! Star of the show. What are you looking forward to most for your birthday?
I'm looking forward to that. Well, just everyone has a great time at my party.
Eva, you put on the best parties at your house. You usually have the best snacks. You have the best desserts. Everybody gets to splash around. I'm pretty sure everybody's going to have the best time.
It's a pool party.
What?
Yes, there's loads of snacks.
Loads of snacks? Give me your
Yeah,
top
we're
3
finding
snacks, Eva.
Cakes, popcorn.
Yeah, we're finding this out on the
Whoa.
spot. We are finding out on the spot. Diva's going to have a couple of birthday parties because why not? Including a girls only Barbie movie screening today. And then she'll have a party
Oh,
on Saturday at the typical, jump park extravaganza. So it's going
yes.
to be great. I do want to ask her because you talked about the generation sort of
Yep.
knowing everybody. And I just wanted to ask her real quick as we close out the show here on the Elle Duncan Show. Eva, do you think that Jake and Logan Paul are A-listers?
Well, yes.
Be your own turncoat. You know what? Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of
Eva
here.
is my favorite.
Here.
Eva is my favorite. She is wise beyond her years. She is 6 years old, but she is well studied. She knows the internet. She knows real life, and that is why she is my favorite.
Let me be clear. My daughter does not know who the Pauls are. She does not watch their content. I want to be very clear.
Yeah.
She's just nodding in agreement with Gary because she loves Gary. Happy birthday, Eva. We'll see you on Monday.
Happy birthday, Eva.